How are you feeling, Troy?
A little nasally, a little congested.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. Across from me is Troy Brittingham.
You're Jeff.
I am Jeff, and Troy, we just saw a movie.
Yes.
What movie would that be?
Was it Madam Web again?
Nope.
Was
Although Madam Web made more money than this one.
Is that true?
We'll get into it in a
Ooh,
second.
I knew it
Furiosa,
didn't
everybody.
I knew it wasn't doing great, but
TB&J! 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 Furiosa opening to 31 to 34 million, lowest number one Memorial Day weekend opening in decades.
that is wild.
It has had a worse opening weekend than a number of movies. One of which it was a post on Reddit I was reading, but it was like John Carter did better, Madam Web did better,
John Carter?
Morbius did better in its opening weekend. Apparently. And
I forgot about John Carter. What the
I
fuck?
know, right? So did most of America, I think. But fucking, it's been a crazy fucking time for movies.
Yeah, because the wild thing about it, this is probably better than all of those.
Yeah,
It's almost certainly better
so
than all those.
thumbs up, thumbs down, Furiosa, real quick before we get too far.
I am thumbs up.
I'm also huge thumbs up. It is. We are big Mad Max fans on this podcast. I certainly love the original trilogy. I adored Fury Road, but all that stuff came out before there was a podcast.
Yeah, Fury Road is one of the few movies to come out as like a legacy sequel years and years later, and everybody's like, "Oh no, we all unanimously agree this is kind of better than all the other stuff, even though the other stuff was good."
Yeah, it's Jesus Christ. Here we go. Adjusted for inflation, Furiosa and Garfield's $31 million opening weekends are the worst Memorial Day weekend openers in 43 years since 1981's Bustin' Loose, a comedy drama starring Richard Pryor, which grossed $24 million.
How's Garfield doing?
About the same as Furiosa, a little bit less.
I knew
A little bit
less. I thought
Well,
it was doing
Furiosa
better.
is number one. Garfield is like just behind it, but it's only by like a couple million.
I thought I heard that it was doing better, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. At least not according to r/box office on Reddit.
Redditors are never wrong.
The updated 4-day weekend estimate for Garfield is 31.1. Furiosa is sitting at 32. Yeah. All right. So either way, what gives, man?
I actually couldn't tell you because
This is so bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's obviously a prequel to another better movie. I'll put that opinion out there first off.
Sure.
This is not Fury Road good.
It's still great.
Yeah, I have more well, that being said, I was gonna say I have more immediate problems than I did with Fury Road, but that's not true. I weirdly did not like Fury Road when it first came out. And
Really?
And then as I kept watching it more and more, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty good. And then eventually it was like, oh no, this is actually better than all of them.
Yeah, Fury Road, I remember when that came out, it was like what got me to really pay attention to Mad Max.
Mm-hmm.
I've loved all sorts of post-apocalyptic stuff for decades and ages. Most notably, related to this, the Borderlands game series.
I remember you and I had you watch all of them at one point.
Mm-hmm. 1, 2, and Beyond Thunderdome.
I think we watched 4 because I think it was after Fury Road.
Oh, yeah. You
Yeah.
know what? We did watch Fury Road together there, too. Yeah. We saw all 4 in, like, the same weekend, I think.
Mm-hmm. I watched all of the original 3, like, way before I probably should have. I have a brother literally named Max, specifically because I said at one point I want a little brother named Max off of Mad Max movies. And my brother is 6 years younger than me, so you do the math on that one.
Yikes, man.
I probably should not have been watching those movies at that age, but you know what? I turned out okay. I think I do have a podcast, so that's a negative, but it's not great for mental health evaluations. But yeah, I have always been. Jeff, this is a little piece of lore that you might not know about me. I saw all the Mad Max movies before I played a single Mortal Kombat game.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That is interesting.
Yeah, Mad Max was in my life before Mortal Kombat was.
That's very interesting to me because I know you played Mortal Kombat like almost
way too
in
early.
The womb.
Way too early. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like most kids our age, we just it was different back then.
Right, and we are more violent because of it. You and I, we are more violent.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. We have all the dark urges and thoughts.
I regularly
in our head.
rip people's spines out of their bodies.
Or you at least think about it.
Yeah, well, you can't persecute me on a thought crime. This isn't Minority Report.
I can.
But this movie, first of all, it's getting a lot of like good to great reviews. I know that off the top of my head. RogerEbert.com gave it a 4 out of 4
I thought
stars.
you were going to say Roger Ebert. I was like, from Beyond the Grave? He gave this a
he's
review?
dead. He long dead, but his website gave it a 4 out of 4 stars. And IGN gave it a fucking 10 out of 10.
Okay.
And say what you will at IGN, but they very rarely give out perfect scores. The last time I ever saw them give a 10 to anything, I think it was for Super Mario Galaxy 2. Or actually, it might have been Zelda Breath of the Wild. But either way, they give out so few of them, you can count them. Like, they're very, very few and far between. It's not just like they're handing out great grades like certain podcasters I know, us. But it's got like I'm looking at it right now. Rotten Tomatoes is sitting at like a 90, I think. Average rating is like a 7.9 out of 10. This movie is, by all measurable metrics, a great movie. It's just not bringing people into the theaters.
Yeah.
And that's really surprising to me personally. I don't understand. I don't know if it's like uniquely a Mad Max thing. Like that's not like a big box office movie.
So kind of, because people kind of forget this. It's a little revisionist at this point because it's such a good movie. Fury Road didn't do all that great in the box office either. It didn't do this bad, but it wasn't. Fury Road did like fine. Fury Road did pretty good.
Fine.
And Fury Road is absolutely the best Mad Max movie.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. The only doubt is like, why is it doing so poorly? It's the first Mad Max film that does not have Max.
Kind of.
Well, yes. Max makes a cameo appearance for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's more of like a guy looking at something happening. If you know who it is, you're like the Leo DiCaprio meme of pointing. And you're like, oh, it's Max!
Played by, I believe his name, I'm not going to look it up, I think it's Jake Tambori. Look it up.
You're right. Jacob Tamori.
He is Tom Hardy's stunt double in Fury Road.
That makes a lot of sense then, yeah. I was almost like, when they showed him, they just show like a guy in a leather jacket next to an interceptor. And I'm like, that's not Max. That can't be. Like, is that him? And then before I could really think about it, it was gone.
Yeah.
It was just seconds.
Well, he's also in the exact same spot. It's like the exact same cliffside as the beginning of Fury Road where he's eating like dog food and then all the cars chase after him.
Okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah, that's like the same shot.
Okay. Then it is a little bit of a cameo, a little throwback, a little Easter egg, which is great. I'm all for that. Especially because, it is a fucking Mad Max movie.
If they were going to do it at all, it should be done like this. You don't want him to get involved too much. I feel like any more than this would have annoyed me a little, but
yeah. Oh, here we go. Furiosa is going to have a worse opening day weekend than Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Morbius.
Okay.
John Carter.
Yeah.
Tomorrowland.
And
Terminator Dark Fate.
Ooh. How many of those did I see in theaters? Wait. Give me with the lineup one more time.
Dark Phoenix.
I did see that in theaters.
Morbius.
No.
John Carter.
No.
You were too young for
Yeah,
John
no,
Carter.
no.
Tomorrowland. I don't even fucking know what that
I
is.
did see that in theaters.
And Terminator: Dark Fate, which
And I
was
saw-
the newest one, I think.
Yeah, I saw I saw 3 of the 5 in theaters.
Dude,
and now this. And this is better than every single one of
This
those.
is better than
by
every
far.
movie I just listed.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix was hot
Significantly
trash.
better.
Morbius is so garbage it's a meme now. John Carter and Tomorrowland are straight forgettable, and as is Terminator: Dark Fate. Like, it's crazy that this is opening lower than like Morbius. Like, this is a great fucking movie. It's just not putting butts in seats. I have no fucking idea.
I'll actually
how.
go out and say this. Terminator is the second best movie on that list that you mentioned,
Yeah.
including Furiosa.
I mean, I don't.
And then probably Tomorrowland.
This is also like the only movie this weekend. Like, if you're an adult going to the theaters,
Right, you're not seeing
this is
Garfield.
the only movie that's like a big splash right now. Garfield, sure. If you're taking your kids to the movie theater, sure. But like, who's clamoring to go see the Garfield movie opening weekend besides us?
Lasagna
Like,
heads.
You and I are lasagna heads. Is that what they call themselves?
Also, you wouldn't have
Gar freaks. They gotta call themselves Gar freaks.
Also, you wouldn't see it Memorial Day weekend because he hates Mondays, and it's like on a Monday.
Oh, clever,
Yeah.
clever. I'll give you a little. I'll give you a little clap for that. But like it, I when I bought tickets, I went and saw it with my wife today. When I went to buy them last night, it was just like 2 other people in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we sat down, there was only like, I don't know, a dozen other people after like it started viewing, and I looked around. I was like, oh, there's like 12 people here. It's not full. It's not close.
And it's weird because other things have like we're in that weird area where it's like things have recovered a little bit. Like Barbie,
sure.
Barbie Oppenheimer did a lot.
I'm sorry. What'd you call it?
Sorry, Barbenheimer
Thank you.
did a lot to repair people going back to the
Barbenheimer
movie.
was literally almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say it was July.
Yeah.
Fucking that put butts in seats. That got people like Variety and Entertainment Weekly writing headlines that said movies are back with like all caps, like, oh, movie theaters are a thing again. And then you have like Fall Guy, which came out to great reviews, and then it was on Peacock like 2 weeks later.
Well, streaming is another problem with it. Do we know if this is hitting streaming soon?
No news yet.
Okay.
I haven't found it. When it does, I assume it's going to be Max because it's a Warner movie.
Because of the mad guy, the guy who's angry.
Yes. Not HBO Max because it's not called that.
No. That was too marketable of a name.
And it was too unique with the purple color scheme.
Right.
They had to
Can't
make
wait
it
for
generic blue.
Can't wait for fucking Batgirl, dude.
Oh, I got bad news for you on there.
Okay. Well, instead I'll wait for Coyote versus Acme.
To put it into perspective for you again, the people, the head count of people buying tickets for opening weekend for Furiosa is less than the people that went and saw Dune 2 2 months after it came out.
Oh.
Yeah, like head count walking in to see that movie right now is less than what Dune was at 2 months after it came out.
So
Dune 2, 2 months after it came out.
So this weekend when I bought tickets, more people bought tickets this weekend for Dune, is what you're saying.
I don't know if Dune 2 is still playing.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you then.
Yeah. So Dune 2, 5, 6, 7 weeks into its run.
Oh, okay. Sure.
was putting more butts in seats than Furiosa did in its opening weekend.
Okay. I kind of forgot
And
where it was in the
fucking,
timeline.
that blows my fucking mind. Because this is a great movie. I mean, I swear we will talk about it in a minute. I'm too caught up and baffled as to how this is not doing better.
It's sort of I've seen reviews and stuff like that. I looked up a little bit of it before coming over for this podcast because I saw it a day before you. And it is sort of the story of this movie kind of taken over more than what's actually in the movie. Is why is nobody seeing it? And it's I don't know, because I guess you said it doesn't really have any competition.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just a streaming movie theater money problem, but like other things have kind of overcome that.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
And even like a week ago, let me see if I can find exactly who it was though. I think a week ago Variety had this projected to make like 40 to 45 million. And they were like, conservatively, I think it'll do 40 to 45. And it's going to barely hit 32. Like, and I know that we're talking about like $8 to $10 million. And in the grand scheme of movie production, that doesn't seem like a whole lot. But this movie cost 168 to put together.
Yep.
And you're going to barely make 32 in your opening weekend when most movies make like a good chunk of their budget in that first weekend and first week. You're not even going to clear 32. What the?
Is this also? This is also the longest Mad Max movie, correct?
That I don't know off the top of my head. I can.
Because this was 228.
Oh, okay. I do know it was a pretty long one. Oh yeah, you're right. It is the longest. So the original Mad Max comes in at an hour 33. Yeah. Road Warrior comes in at an hour 34. Thunderdome is an hour 47. Fury Road comes in right at 120 minutes, 2 hours, and then Furiosa 228.
So by a pretty significant amount.
Yeah. But like again, you talk about Barbenheimer. Oppenheimer was a 3-hour-long movie.
Yeah, Oppenheimer's literally over 3 hours,
and that still put butts in seats. Fucking The Batman was a 3-hour movie, and that put butts in seats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how you're not putting butts in seats when you're coming out with another Mad Max movie. It seems like a slam dunk, especially with a franchise like Mad Max that hasn't really skipped a beat.
No,
I'm sorry. It hasn't. I want to be very careful with what I just said.
Sure.
It's not constantly churning out movies, but the ones that it does are high quality.
All 5 are good.
Yes. There's not a single Mad Max movie that I would say is bad.
And you know what I tried to do?
Even with Thunderdome existing.
I love Thunderdome now.
So many people love Thunderdome. I think it's the weakest of the 5. I still think it's a good movie. I just don't think it's a great movie.
I tried to rank them after this, and I basically put Fury Road number 1, Road Warrior number 2, and the other 3 are so... It's the thing that I love about Mad Max the most is every single movie's different, and this movie's even different than Fury Road. It obviously has a lot of the same sort of trappings and sort of style and stuff from Fury Road, because that's the most recent one. That's what people kind of associate with Mad Max now.
I think more people our age and younger see Tom Hardy as Mad Max and not Mel Gibson.
Which may be for the best. You could argue.
Why? Is Mel Gibson a problematic actor these days?
I don't know. He's not the best guy, I don't think. Yeah.
I'll have to look into that when you leave today.
Okay.
I had no idea.
All right. I think you're gonna find
this
some
is
things.
news to me. I live under a rock.
I think you're going to be pretty surprised. But
I wonder if I was gonna say I should invite him over for Yom Kippur this year.
Oh no. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Oh man.
But
sorry.
No, but
I didn't mean to derail you.
No, you're good. But I was sort of like Fury Road is the best. Road Warrior is the second best. And then the other 3 are in like this weird sort of zone of like the other 3 are like the weirdest ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of love them all for their own unique weird ways.
Right.
One is the weirdest in general. Like it's not even really a full wasteland yet. It's George Miller's first ever movie. There's a lot of weird choices in it, but it's almost charming in like how like indie it is.
Oh, certainly.
Thunderdome is the opposite of that, where it's like so corporate and it's like PG-13. And what if the Goonies were in it? Basically, like they go on a child like adventure. Mm-hmm. It's the Peter Pan one, basically. But like. That one's one of the most quotable of all of them.
Oh, for sure.
Of who runs Bartertown. Master Blaster owns Bartertown. Tina Turner literally has a song in it. But like, and then this one.
2 men enter, one man leaves. I still fucking chant that sometimes whenever there's a disagreement happening and I'm witnessing it. I'm like, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. And everyone looks at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, oh, people don't remember Thunderdome.
I love Thunderdome so much, but this movie's like not as weird as those 2 probably.
No, this
But-
movie is certainly less weird.
This is the world building one,
it is absolutely the world building one,
which is
we get to see
40
the bullet
years
farm.
later, and
We get to see the bullet farm for the first time, I believe, right?
Yep.
And then we also
so Bullet Farm and Gastown are both creations of Fury Road, I think.
We've
and-
heard them before. We just hadn't seen them. I think.
Yeah, but they weren't like original 3 or anything. Is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
And you kind of just see them from afar at some point, and like you're like, oh, those guys are from the Bullet Farm, and that's about it.
Mhm.
Like you don't really, they don't go there and extend.
I think in
this
the
is like
Mad Max Xbox One game, you go in Gastown,
mm-hmm.
and then you can like go to Bullet Farm, but not like in Bullet Farm. I want to say they're there. 'Cause
Yeah.
the map is fucking huge.
This game also has this
Yeah,
movie
sorry.
also has a lot of the game stuff in it. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The snipers, the fucking there's a lot of things that I remember from the game.
I mean,
that just-
Scrotus is basically like a big character in this one, isn't he? The main boss of that game.
one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
He's fucking huge in the game. As is Rectus Erectus, I think. Both kids of Immortan Joe are in that game. And then fucking, this game, I'm doing it just like you are. This movie does a really good job of building up the Mad Max world around just Max, and you really get to see like all of the Australian wasteland.
I would argue that it's actually more about the setting than it is Furiosa a lot of the time too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Furiosa and her quest for revenge against Chris Hemsworth, they almost seem like an afterthought. Dementus. Every bad guy in Mad Max has a great fucking name.
The best part of every Mad Max movie is the credits when you look at the names of the characters. This one has like Black Thumb, Erectus, Dementus, Scrotus,
Toe Jam.
He
was the kidnapper in the beginning.
There's a character named like Scrum or something. Smeg. There's a Smeg in there. They're all great, and everybody in this, including Chris Hemsworth to a big degree. I thought he was kind of going to be annoying when I saw the trailers. He's actually kind of great in this.
Oh, fuck yeah! Chris Hemsworth is amazing in this, and like we've known he's a great actor for fucking 20 years now. Look at every Avengers movie ever. But
right,
seeing him,
but even that's like, and I'm not one of these people who's just like, oh, every Marvel movie's been bad forever, and actually, I never liked them. But like, it's like a different type of like acting, and sometimes you forget. Like when you go to see Oppenheimer and you see Robert Downey Jr. and you're like, oh yeah, this guy can like real act.
Oh yeah,
like
it's like when you watch Breaking Bad for the first time and you're like, hey, that's Malcolm in the Middle's dad. Oh, he just killed a guy. Yeah, it's very, very different. It's very, very different. But I loved seeing Hemsworth put on the villain hat for a movie, and he does it so well.
And a great
He
mustache.
really does the charismatic kind of bad guy, and you're never really quite sure if he like really is a bad guy or if he does have good intentions. It's kind of up in the air sometimes.
He's kind of got a great. I have a sad backstory that makes me sympathetic sort of guy, and then almost sort of plays it as like, yeah, I'm sympathetic. So I mean, just kind of let me do the bad stuff. Like it almost seems like he's using it as like a crutch, where he's like, yeah, and I had kids and they're dead, and I'm super sad about it. Anyway, let me take over Gastown.
And he is a murdering psychopath. However, it seems like the people that work for him and under him like genuinely respect him. And when he says that, like, I will distribute the food and water equally, he kind of does stick to his word sometimes.
So he has a great arc because he kind of starts off like that a lot. And definitely as it goes on, you're just sort of like, okay, like the word gets out. He's like, yeah, he's actually Gastown's falling apart and he's blaming everybody else kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like he is like at the start of the movie, I fully believe him. Where he's just like, yeah, we're like, stop worshiping this guy. This guy sucks.
This guy
Morton
super
Joe.
sucks.
And like basically, he's like, we can unionize the wasteland. Is kind of where he's coming from almost.
Unions in the wasteland.
Yeah, almost.
Let's start passing out pamphlets.
And then as the movie goes on and as he kind of gets more in like the fold of Joe's like group, he's almost sort of like, oh, wait a minute. A little bit of corruption actually can get me like pretty far.
Yeah. Who knew the wasteland could be a little corrupt sometimes? And then he fucking goes and takes over the bullet farm and just kills all those people. And just because, I guess, he has these ambitions of just getting more and more power and control, but then he doesn't know what to do with it once he has it. And then it just falls under like mismanagement, and then the people under him like rebel or they go rogue and start their own thing. And there was that scene when the rig gets attacked, and oh god, what's his name? Jack, I think, the driver.
Yeah,
Jack is like defending against the rig, and they're like, "Oh, it's fucking his guys," and he's like, "No, they're rogue," and it's like, "Oh, they went rogue. Okay, how do you know that?" Also, like, why would they go rogue? What's going on here? Like, it is fascinating that he seems to be able to get control. He just doesn't know what to do with it, and then it just falls into disarray when he's in charge. That just makes him a better villain in my perspective.
Yeah, and
so
even I even don't want to like downplay him as being that bad at the beginning, because at the beginning of the movie, he does also like murder a woman immediately.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
yeah, he's still a bad guy.
Like his defining characteristic at the beginning of the movie is like, yeah, this guy, he cares about his guys. He's got this chariot of motorcycles. He also is really, really good at torture. He's just really
he's the best at
super
torture.
good at torture. Loves it.
If it was an Olympic sport, he could manage the team.
Right, and it's like that's where he starts off, and you're like, okay, so he's not that good of a guy.
But then he does like a fucking what's his fucking name? The blue guy from Guardians.
Yondu.
He does like a fucking Yondu bit almost, where he's like, "I tortured and murdered your mother in front of you to make you strong, so you wouldn't be soft." And it's like, what? What kind of back-ass words parenting is that, you sick fuck? Jesus Christ.
I think the difference, though, is that Yondu's kind of genuine and just doesn't know how to be a good parent.
No, yeah,
and Dementis,
for sure.
and Dementis is just sort of like, I don't know. Maybe it helped you maybe you stronger or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, you want to hold my teddy bear again?
Yeah.
But Dementis was a great bad guy. I did love it. I loved that we got to see the other side of like the Citadel and Immortan Joe and all those people. Who's the fucking fat guy in a suit rubbing his nipples all day long?
I don't remember his name, but he's in Fury Road as well.
Yeah. Hang on. The People Eater.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Joe's advisor and military strategist, and the future ruler of Gastown in Fury Road. Okay, yeah, so after the events of this movie, I guess, after, oh my god, I keep forgetting his name, Dementis. After Dementis dies, I guess they give Gastown to the People Eater, and then the Bullet Farmer goes back to the Bullet Farm, I guess? He was fine, right? Bullet guy,
Yeah.
bullets on him.
Yeah, because he dies in Fury Road.
Right. Man, there's so much death and destruction in the Mad Max world, and I fucking love it. I'm here for every bit of it.
I think it should be more of a slow court drama.
Troy, what did you dislike about this movie?
So I do have answers to that. I didn't think that this was, like I said, this was not Fury Road good.
You did put this as a weaker movie.
The 2.5 hours, sometimes
it's a tough pill to swallow.
I feel like there's a lot of scenes in it that I'm like, okay, this could have gone a little bit faster.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that are like a little dragged, and I mean, and Fury Road is a 2-hour chase scene.
Sure.
So you could technically cut things out of that. I just think that there was no time in Fury Road where I was ever bored. And this, I wouldn't say I was bored in it ever, but it definitely has times where it drags a little bit more. I also, it doesn't look as good as Fury Road, and I don't think it looks bad. But like, there's scenes where when her and Jack are in the truck, you can see like the background, and you can kind of see it's a little green screeny.
Yeah.
And it's also more sort of revisionist history of Fury Road. people always talk about how that movie had like no CGI whatsoever, and it was all filmed and it was all real and stuff like that, and that's not true.
Yep.
Turns out that most of those cars weren't real, and you can't just blow up things in the desert that
You
often
can't?
without killing half your cast.
Oh man.
When you go through the big sandstorm, that was 98% CGI. Like it's
what? You blow my mind.
turns out there's a lot in that movie, and the movie kind of does no favorites to itself by ending with clips of Fury Road. Because as I was watching it, I was liking this movie a lot, and then I saw the clips of Fury Road, and I was like, no, that does look better, though. Like, it does look, like, the explosions look a little bit more, like, real and scary, and, like, I like the art style of that movie a little bit more. Like, and this movie's a lot more dynamic. It has a lot more going on. Fury Road,
yeah, for sure.
Fury Road is basically the Citadel for a little bit, and then one straight drive through the desert, and those are the two set pieces of that whole movie. And this movie has, like, you know, big cities full of stuff and 100 more people in car chases and bike chases and whatever, so it needs to have more, but it doesn't always look as good, and it's all stylized over, so sometimes they can hide it, but
yeah. No, I agree with that. This movie does seem to also like, I don't know if rely on CGI is the word.
Sure.
But there's a lot of bigger visual effects that seem like they definitely need it, and it's very present, but it doesn't look terrible.
No,
so
if Fury Road was not a comparison point, I would have thought this movie looked fine.
Right. And this movie does look fine. And most of it, I would even say, looks great.
Yeah.
It's not perfect.
No,
there
it
are a
has.
few bits
It has.
where I'm like, that's a little much.
Yeah, it has moments where the armor cracks.
A little bit. But the overall product is good enough, in my opinion, that I'm just able to overlook a lot of that.
I'll agree with that. I think my only other real negative is I think it kind of muted Joe a little bit in my eyes.
Yeah, Joe didn't seem like the big, powerful guy he is in Fury Road.
So unfortunately, the guy who plays Morton Joe in Fury Road is dead. This is a new guy.
Right.
I
mean, I guess, I don't know if thankfully is the right word, but Joe is a character that just has so much on him.
Yeah, you can hide.
You can.
Anybody can be him.
It's like Darth Vader. You could pretty much put anybody in there as long as they have the mannerisms and the voice.
Well, that's the one thing. He kind of doesn't have the voice. He kind of has like a different voice now.
Right. Well, I noticed that, but I was also like, this is also Anya Taylor-Joy and not Charlize Theron.
Sure.
So like, I was like, it's fine. They're taking a few liberties. It's before Fury Road. It's different people. It's fine. Or at least in my perspective. I don't want to like, say it'll be fine or whatever. But I did not really give a shit. I was like, it's fine.
No, yeah, I it wasn't a huge negative for me, but Joe is definitely less of a super imposing sort of legendary kind of bad guy now in this one than he was in Fury Road.
Yeah. Fucking, what was my other thing I was gonna bring up?
As negatives, or?
Yeah, I was trying to think of a couple, to be honest, and we've talked about it before a lot, where I do have a bit of a modernity bias or recency bias, where it's like if I saw it very recently, I will think higher of it than if I sit on it and let it bake for a minute. But this movie is a bit long.
Yes,
but I don't think anything could have been cut necessarily. It's hard to say. Like the whole beginning bit with her as a kid, maybe that could have gone quicker, but it also really puts you in her shoes in the later parts of the movie, where she's just like silently preparing for her revenge and just trying to scrape by and survive until she gets her moment and can leave. And then so you do need like the full ride to really get there with her. So I don't hate any of it.
No, I think that pretty much a lot of the scenes can be shortened. I don't know if anything can be cut outright.
Yeah, some stuff could have probably been shortened. I'm trying to think what. I guess, some stuff didn't have to be as long as it was, and we could have gotten there a little more efficiently, a little quicker maybe. I did really enjoy. I'm going back to good stuff again.
No, I have almost all good stuff after that.
I loved all the stuff that ended with her and Dementis in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, how did he die? It's like, well, no one really knows, but here's the story and here's the legend.
That's my favorite character in the whole movie.
The History Man?
Is the History Man. I think that idea is so fucking cool.
It's so fucking rad.
Of just an old man who just remembers everything.
It's like the fucking, what was it, The Giver? When we were kids, you had to read that stupid book. Not stupid book, it's a Newbery Award-winning book. But that was sarcasm. But regardless, I did love that because it also leads credence to our theory that the entirety of Mad Max is just stories told about Max wandering the desert. And also, I guess Furiosa could join that now as well. Which also leads credence to a theory that you had when we were younger and we watched all these movies. You said you had a theory that no Max is like the same Max. It's like a different guy, but like it's hard to tell because it's just legends told in the wasteland.
Yeah, I think it should just be like whatever of just like, yeah, this is like the hero guy. He might not look like this. It may not have happened in this way. It may have not happened in the same order as it does in the movies.
I love the idea of him just being like a folk hero. And his legend is just told through word of mouth across the desert. It's awesome, and I love that theory. And the ending of Dementis and Furiosa really leads credence to that theory, in my opinion. I really, really loved it. He just became a human tree with a tree growing out of his cock.
But I like that.
All right.
I like that, like, even the way the History Man's telling it, you can even almost read and be like, well, that didn't fucking happen.
Yeah, right?
You're like, she probably just shot him.
Yeah, she probably just shot him in the desert. Like,
because he starts it off as like, yeah, a lot of people don't want it to just be she shot him or whatever, and then he's telling it, and like he also kind of hates him by the end of the movie, and you're just like, he's like, maybe he thought he should be a human tree.
Yeah, maybe he should have just been a human tree.
Maybe he's just been bullshitting this whole time. Maybe he doesn't know any of this shit.
Yeah, who fucking knows? Who fucking cares? Troy, what else do you have to add about this movie? I apologize.
No. What else do I have to add about this movie?
Things that you particularly enjoyed, or had a particular problem with, maybe.
I don't really have any more problems. I love the one chase on the war rig the first time. I love the little like parachute fan guys.
Oh yeah.
And the guy, and my favorite guy of all time is the guy who comes in on the like the blimp like thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the blimp is just, what if we had a big balloon and then tied to it was a guy on a motorcycle, and on that motorcycle was like 4 or 5 machine guns that we just wrapped together.
Pretty cool.
It's some of them. It's maybe more inventive than Fury Road is, even.
Okay, I think I would agree with that. I think they certainly come up with a lot of new ways to do the same old formula of guys killing each other in the desert with improvised weapons and old guns. I don't remember a whole lot of air combat happening when you're attacking the rigs, but we certainly saw a good chunk of it.
I mean, 2 and 3 do have a famous pilot character.
Yeah.
Who are both played by the same guy, but are different guys.
Yeah, that is a weird thing, isn't it? What did you think of fucking Furiosa losing her arm?
I like it. I was kind of expecting it to be more like, okay, well, she has a map back home, and then somebody's going to realize it's a map back home, and then she has to basically lose her arm, or somebody tries to cut her arm off for it.
Okay.
And that kind of doesn't happen.
No, but she still loses that arm with the map, right?
Yeah. But I still like it. I still think it's good. I think the ending is where it started to like kind of wrap up. I feel like the middle, even the beginning, I feel like the beginning and middle were a lot stronger for me, and I like how it ended. But a lot of the lead up to the end, I was sort of like, okay, we can kind of get there.
Yeah.
I really like all the stuff at the beginning, especially with where her mom is like the main character for like a split second.
Super badass lady.
Yeah, she rocks. She's one of the best characters in the movie. and I like the idea of them just like tracking the guys down for days in the desert. Yeah, it's all good. It's a lot more of I like sort of the overall wasteland combat feel of this one a lot more, where it's more, there's not a Max that's here to help anybody do a thing. So this is more of a movie where everything in the wasteland is kind of messed up and nobody's actually really kind of fixing it. Like even Furiosa's not fixing it. She's just kind of in it. Mm-hmm. And like, because of that, we were talking about it. It's mostly them just being like, yeah, and then here's a step-by-step, like, here's the politics of Gastown and what it does and why it's here and why they can't just go in and take all the gas.
Yeah.
This is the Mad Max politics movie.
Yeah, it does kind of revolve around like these guys and these fortresses need to work together for the betterment and the survival of all three of them. Or you could just take over all three of them, and then you're in charge, and everybody's fine. Which is what Dementus tried to do, and failed to do. And then he got his ass kicked. But no, this movie is more about the world, I think. But and even so, the Furiosa story it tells is like an awesome hero's journey of her starting out from nothing and just burning this revenge plot just like all the way through, all the way to the end, and just absolutely destroying Dementus. It was a really, really solid ride all the way through. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie completely.
Yeah.
I think that's about all I have to say about it. It was a really fucking solid ride.
I also like that Jack is basically just original Mad Max. He's just
he
has almost the same personality. He's just kind of.
I really thought they were going that direction, especially when the bullet farmer guy was like, "Oh, here's the boomstick you requested," and I'm like, "Oh, he's got the Mad Max gun," and then he's like, "Here, this is for you," and I'm like, "Oh, you're giving it to her? Okay, that's fine, I guess."
Yeah,
I wanted you to keep it and beat Mad Max, but okay.
Yeah, but he is. I heard this as a take of he might have been like almost a better choice of a Mad Max than Tom Hardy was even.
Oh,
like
I 100% agree with that.
He's kind of close. But like I said, he's more of like a Mel Gibson take on Mad Max than he is a Tom Hardy take on Mad Max, where he's a little bit more like feral in Fury Road. But
okay, I can see that. Troy, are you done talking about this movie? Are you ready to grade it?
I was just wondering.
Or number it?
No, not yet. I was just wondering how Australians sort of live like this.
Oh, you think this is just how all Australians live?
It is, isn't it? Is it not?
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely correct.
I imagine that the cities like Melbourne and Sydney and stuff like that have the emus in it. Is it not Melbourne?
It's pronounced Melbourne.
Okay.
It's spelled Melbourne.
Okay.
It's pronounced Melbourne.
Well, I imagine that's where all the emus live now that they've kicked all the humans out to the wasteland.
Okay.
And this is what's happening with all the humans. Is that not... Is my history not correct on this?
There's another documentary about Australia I want you to watch.
Okay.
It's called Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun.
Okay.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's about 8 episodes long.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're done that, I want you to watch Auntie Donna's Coffee Cafe.
Can I watch Finding Nemo at any point?
That also has a little bit of Australia in it. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and watch that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that plus this is Australia.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And also Outback Steakhouse. They all eat bloomin' onions every day.
Bloomin' onion. Throw some shrimp on the barbie.
That's how they all talk, and they all eat bloomin' onions every single day.
And they drink Foster's.
Why is it that all Australians are hot? What happened? Why? Why is that?
Because the country is just so brutal and everything's trying to kill you that evolution just got sped up.
Like, it's so not fair that they have people that fucking look like Margot Robbie and Hugh Jackman. Yeah. And like fucking Chris Hemsworth. All the Hemsworths.
Oh, don't forget Anthony Starr.
Yeah.
I think he's a Kiwi technically, but it's all the same area.
Is Anya Taylor-Joy Australian?
She's British.
She's British. Okay.
Well, she was born in Miami, but
okay.
Grew up between Miami and London.
Okay. I know, okay, because I know...
You know she's younger than us, Troy?
Yes, I do. Yeah, but here, think
What
about
the
this.
fuck are we doing with our lives?
We have a podcast and she doesn't. So who's really winning?
She's been on a podcast, I'm sure, as a guest.
I don't know. Was she on Hot Ones?
I want to say yes.
Hot Ones isn't really a podcast, but you know what I mean.
I bet even if she wasn't on Hot Ones, that they've definitely asked.
You know
her.
who was on Hot Ones who has ties to this movie? Charlize Theron, and fucking kills Hot Ones.
Does she?
She's like trying their hottest ones and is like, oh fuck, that's good. Can I take this home with me?
That's awesome.
Like every single one.
Did you see Conan recently on Hot Ones?
Yes, I did.
Oh my god, that might be one of my favorites. When fucking Sean Evans is like, "Be careful, that one's really hot. You don't want to get it on your face," and he starts licking it and rubbing it on his cheeks. And I'm like, Conan, no.
He's like clearly fucking crying, but he's just like, this is pussy shit. He's like, this is what you have. This is all you have.
You know what, everybody? If you're still listening to this podcast, turn it off. Go watch Hot Ones, which is a much better production than all this bullshit we're putting on. Troy, are we doing letters or are we doing numbers? What do you want to do here?
Let's do numbers.
All right, we're gonna do numbers. I'm gonna go first because I never go first. I am gonna give Furiosa a Mad Max Saga, or Mad Max Furiosa. I've seen it both ways. I'm gonna give it an A. No, I'm gonna give it a 9.
9.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
I'm going to go, and
fuck that. I'm giving it a 9.5.
9.5. Okay, I think you like this movie more than I did.
I really, really liked this movie. Anything that like was a problem, I easily hand waved it away, and I was like, "Nah, this is great."
Mm-hmm.
And I loved seeing Furiosa become a badass and just fucking kick Chris Hemsworth's ass out in the desert.
I am going to hit this a little more critical, mostly because we keep talking about how we keep giving things 9s and 10s. Criticized by only ourselves so far. Nobody else outside is. I'm going to go 7.8. I'm gonna lowball it a little bit. I'm gonna deny it in the 8 range.
Okay. You really had some issues, but I respect it.
It's just it's as and Mad Max, the original Mad Max.
That makes our average an 8.7, by the way.
I think that's about fair. I think that with Thunderdome and the original Mad Max, I definitely have a lot of nostalgia for, and I might be putting them a little bit up on a pedestal, especially the first one. But I think that I kind of hold them higher than this one, so I kind of just wanted to reflect it that way, where I would put this. And I don't want to say it's the weakest Mad Max movie because all 5 are so good.
Would you say it's the one that requires the most prior knowledge?
Maybe it might be the only one that requires any prior knowledge.
Right, that was one of the things I enjoyed about the other 4 movies, was that you could pretty much interchange them.
You can pretty much watch them
in the timeline, with the exception of 1, I guess. And like, it doesn't matter. You could, with 1 being first, you could put 2, Thunderdome and Fury Road, anywhere in the sequence.
But also, if you never watch 1 at all, you probably still get it.
Right. Yeah, and you could watch 1, 2, 3, Thunderdome, or I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, and Fury Road, basically interchangeably, and you would still be fine. You would still get everything. I think this one, if you didn't watch Fury Road, you are missing out on some stuff.
Sure, especially at the end where they just show you Fury Road.
They just show you clips from Fury Road and all that stuff happening, and the wives getting into the rig to escape in the beginning of Fury Road.
They show Knox dying in the fucking ending.
Oh yeah, they did.
What the fuck is that about? Don't show that.
Spoiler if you hadn't seen Fury Road.
I mean, you should have just seen Fury Road already. It's almost 10 years old. It's 2015.
It's 9 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was having that discussion the other day with a coworker when I was like, fucking this guy said he hadn't been working there too long, only since like 2004, and that was only like what 10 years ago. And she was like, "No, Jeff, that was 20 years ago." And I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, you'll be dead in the ground soon.
All right. Thank you for that existential dread.
Yeah, it's fine.
Easy for you to say. Gramps.
I'm younger than you.
By 2 days.
I'm younger than you, which means I'll live forever.
Wait, weren't you born on the 8th?
I was born on the 12th.
No, you're the 12th. That's right.
I'm 2 days after you, not before you.
Yeah.
I think that on, like the year 2090 something, on November 11th, they're going to discover immortality, and I'll live and you'll die. That's what I'm banking on.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's fine. I want to die.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that?
No. All right. So I think that concludes our coverage of Mad Max Furiosa.
I think so.
Now, how do you feel about the state of the future Mad Max movies?
I think that as long as the next one takes place far away from these 3 towns.
So I highly doubt that.
Okay.
Considering that, because I did a little bit of research before the podcast.
Yep.
Tom Hardy was doing some press right around the Fury Road days, and he revealed that in his contract he has 3 more Mad Max movies in that contract.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with him being Mad Max. I
don't know if they're gonna be too far away. If it's still like Hardy's Max,
I mean, the first 3 are pretty different locations.
Yeah,
and they're all Mel.
You got a good point there.
I just want every Mad Max movie to be distinctly super different. It's actually one of the complaints I had about Fury Road originally, is that it is just sort of a chase movie like Fury Road was, or Road Warrior. I mean,
sure, yeah.
But I got over it because it's better. But I just want all of them to be this weird, distinctly unique thing. I want them to come out. I don't want them to come out with another one soon, and I just want them to all have. I want to basically be like, okay, and this is what's happening in like Joe's sort of now Furiosa's sort of 3 towns in the movie, and then Mad Max is going to go somewhere else, and he's going to do another thing over that way, and we're never going to see these characters again, and that's kind of what I want.
Here's an Easter egg for you. The guy, that little like bumbling idiot, when Furiosa was like, I need a vehicle, and he was like, I have one for you, and he pulls the tarp off and you see the car. Do you know who that was?
I believe that's supposed to be Chum Bucket, isn't it?
It is Chum Bucket, your little sidekick in the video game.
Yeah.
They're tying it all together.
I think that there's a little bit of revision. I keep saying revisionist history. There's some revisionist history with that game too.
Sure.
I feel like that game came out and everybody unanimously went, this is pretty good. And that was the end of the conversation. And I feel like there's a lot of people nowadays who have turned around and they're just like, oh yeah, this great Mad Max game you've never played. It's actually incredible. And it's like, it's good. It's fine, man. It's not all that.
It's good. It's certainly good. It's worth playing.
Yeah.
Getting all the collectibles and clearing everywhere.
Whether or not you like Mad Max, I think it's good enough to play whatever.
Yeah, and the combat is really difficult in the beginning, and then you get all the upgrades, and then it's like, oh, fuck all this. I just want to be over with. But yeah, it's an easy game to perfect if you really want to.
But I have seen people online be like, no, this game is great, and not a whole lot of people are talking about it. And I'm like, you're not talking about it because it's not really that great, man.
Yeah. I mean...
That's my shade at the Mad Max game. That I like, by the way.
Yeah. So that is it for Mad Max Furiosa. I am very excited to see what comes next in the Mad Max universe. I'm also excited to... I'm not excited. I'm also loath to read all of the headlines in the next coming days about how the movies are dead again, and Mad Max killed them. But what the fuck ever. None of these movies historically had like massive opening weekends.
Do you think that the movies would have both done better if Garfield had crossed over with the Mad Max universe?
Oh, sure. Like Furiosa is like strung up and like passing in and out, and Garfield just shows up and he's like, Mondays, am I right?
Right, and it's Chris Pratt's voice.
Oh God, I forgot Chris Pratt voices Garfield.
Yeah, you know who else is in it? Snoop Dogg.
Shut the fuck up.
Snoop Dogg's apparently in it.
Is
And
he a
so
dog?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
And so is Samuel Jackson as his dad.
Sam Jackson?
Sam Jackson's in it, yeah.
Who's playing John Arbuckle?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, man, I gotta figure this out. Hang on. So, Garfield movie, John Arbuckle. Oh, my God.
The cast is huge, I know that. It's like one of those like kids movies that you look at the cast and you're like, why are so many people in this?
Dude, I don't... first of all, I'm getting the Garfield movie from, like, 2004.
Oh, Bill Murray. The one he was allegedly tricked into being in.
Yeah, that was... Garfield, John... Nicholas Holt
Oh, okay.
is John.
All right.
Nicholas Holt, really? I don't hate that casting.
Hank McCoy himself.
Yeah.
The second one after it was whatchamacallit, Frasier.
Shut the fuck up. All right.
He was Beast.
Yeah, he was. All right, that is it for Furiosa.
Kelsey Grammer is his name.
Troy, what are we doing tomorrow?
We are potentially maybe going to see Fall Guy fucking a month late, or Garfield, or something, and watch a movie and then a podcast maybe.
Great. Thank you for that non-committal answer. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. Like, subscribe. You know what to do. Or don't. I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do.
Ba, 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 ba.
Did I tell you I'm going to Baltimore in December?
Huh? No, you did not? For any reason, or you're just going?
The Ravens are hosting the Eagles. So I'll be going down to my first ever regular season NFL game.
Regular season, guys, because that was your bachelor party, was a preseason game.
And it was the same two teams, but now it's going to be like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts.
Did I ever tell you about I had a coworker who I was telling him that you invited me to a preseason game as your bachelor party, and he was sitting there and he was talking about, he's like, and it was like my into as a conversation, because he was like, he's like, yeah, the Eagles season's starting up and I'm excited, and he's like, how do you feel about the team this year, and how do you feel? And he's like trying to talk to everybody, and I don't watch sports anymore, and I didn't like the Eagles when I did, so
you were a Cowboys fan.
I was named after Troy Aikman, and I tried to just get in the conversation. I was just like, oh, I'm going to, because he was like, first preseason game tonight. What do you think? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be there, by the way. And he goes, who the fuck goes to a away preseason game as their bachelor party? I was like, what the fuck you, man? I'm trying to join into the conversation. I thought it was cool, and now you're done shitting.
I love Baltimore. I love football. I thought I would mix the two for my bachelor party. Go fuck yourself.
I enjoyed it, even though I got fucking lost in the stadium.
Also, you know why we went to a preseason game? Because it was affordable.
Yeah.
And not regular. I'm gonna dish a little bit further. Me and my wife. That is it. Those are the only people I bought tickets for to go to this game. How much money do you think I spent, Troy?
Oh boy.
2 tickets. I'll give you another hint. They are way up there. We're in section like 529.
Ooh. Is it over 2?
Oh yeah.
Is it over 3?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Is it over 4?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
After everything was said and done, 4:30.
Jesus.
For 2 tickets to a regular season NFL game.
$2.15? That's
for nosebleeds.
I don't like it.
Jesus Christ.
I don't like it. How much were our tickets for the preseason game? Like
$60 a piece.
Ah.
Yeah, that's why we went that way.
I could buy that or an Assassin's Creed game.
Not anymore.
That's true. They're 70.
Nah.
Are they more?
The new one with the samurai is allegedly going to be like 80 or 90 when it comes out, like almost $100.
And that's not for like a deluxe edition or anything?
I don't think so.
I don't like that.
I was reading something.
Hey man, Assassin's Creed hasn't been doing that great over the past few. I mean, it's just doing fine numbers wise, but like, there's not a whole lot of people who are like big Assassin's Creed heads anymore.
Yeah.
People just kind of play them where they don't. Like that's kind of where they're at.
Friend of the pod, John Fitzwater, has a tattoo that is a mix of Deadpool and Assassin's Creed. And he says, as the years have gone on, he's less embarrassed by the Deadpool part and more embarrassed by the Assassin's Creed
which is
part.
wild.
Oh yeah, he really thought it'd be the other way, and it's not.
Deadpool 10 years ago
is way cringier.
It was like 10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like, ooh, Assassin's Creed.
I was at a convention recently.
I'm still recording.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get it all in before you stop. I'm trying to see how long I can make this go. But I was at a convention, and as I was walking in, there was a guy like dressed up as a Deadpool cosplayer, and he's like, doing the wacky stuff and talking to people and whatever. And I historically fucking hate Deadpool cosplayers. I think they're all the fucking most annoying people
It just
on the
gives
planet.
you an excuse to be an asshole.
Yeah, and I heard somebody behind me say on the way in, he's like, yeah, Deadpool cosplayers are the best. And I almost wanted to turn around and just be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong.
That's it. The end.